And now for your delectation, the Khan Kibosh collection. This selection of things that you'll no longer see on episodes of AEW Dynamite EE, Rampage, or Collision. Or Bataille of the Belts.
Damn, that was good.
Or Double or New Thing.
I enjoyed that then.
Or
I wasn't expecting that.
Owl in, Owl out. And others. It's Tom and Andrew with you this morning, and we are, look, there you are, he's there.
My chair's just gone down. It's just gone down on its own.
Well, the chair length and height was banned by Tony Khan, as was multiple moves and spots. The new regulation also put into place over chair shots, blading in matches, and pile drivers. Lots of things to talk about here that we're going to get into. This all came from Fightful Select, didn't it, Andrew?
It did, yeah. So Fightful Select said that Fightful has learned of a document that was sent out within the company recently that outlines some of the changes planned in regards to performer and fan safety. It's important to note that while multiple people in the company confirmed the document was legitimate, there are numerous talent who said they hadn't seen it as of yet. Now, there were protocols developed by the AEW medical team, coaches and referees to help protect talent, staff, crew and fans. The document said that while there is always risk in pro wrestling, they wanted to minimize the risk without compromising the quality of the talent's performances and ability to be creative.
So specifically within this document, the following are outright banned. Unprotected chair shots to the head, thank you, or unprotected shots to the head in general. Shots to the back of the head, which you can't prepare for, so I'm delighted with that.
No, yeah.
Buckle bombs / blind moves backwards into the turnbuckle. It was a buckle bomb that nearly put Sting's career
it was.
On a permanent hold. Thankfully not the case. Fencing response / seizure cells. You'll see wrestlers do this when they have their body convulsed.
Yeah. Well, so do you know what the fencing response? Because I'm actually not too sure about that term. I know the seizure cells, obviously. But
You'll probably know in the comments and let us know if we've missed something out here. But fencing response, I do believe it all comes back to that. To feigning some kind of seizure or event off the back of taking an impact, as opposed to lying still, acting as if you're legit knocked out.
Yeah,
I think is what we're talking here. Spitting is banned, which is good because if it's good enough to be banned at Nunnerywood High School, it should be banned on AEW. Blood in the crowd, i.e. no bleeding while in the crowd and no throwing bloody gear, tape or objects into the crowd, obviously. No weapons / projectiles in the crowd, they are banned. Taking drinks or food from guests in the crowd. I can't think of an incident lately where I've seen that, but I'm sure over years we've seen wrestlers grab a drink and neck it. Oh, yeah.
We've seen it at MJF.
MJF, of course, yeah.
I was going to say, I thought you were doing a bit there, Tom.
No. I was genuinely, that escaped my mind. Yeah, the tequila shot. Whatever the drink was thrown. Yeah, so that is happening. I should have been a bit, really. Also, physical contact with the crowd. This comes back to the MJF bit again. E.g. wrestlers holding opponents and allowing a fan to chop them. It is a favourite in sports halls and social clubs up and down the country. Here in the UK, it won't be happening on AEW anymore. But that is the list of things that are outright banned in AEW now.
Yes, and also in the document is a list of moves that, whilst not banned, need to be approved by a coach. So they have to go back and ask whether they can do these things or not. Spots and bumps on the ring apron and outside. Table, ladder, chair spots in and out of the ring, only allowed with padding. Elevated spots outside the barricades, so dives, ladder spots on stage, around the arena, other places outside of the ring. All pile driver / tombstone variations. Now this includes sit down drivers, inverted poison hurricane ranas and vertebreakers as well. High risk dives or top rope moves. So for 50 splashes, 630, double moonsaults, SSP, etc.
So just to reiterate, as Andrew said, these are ones that haven't been outright banned, but they need clearance.
They need clearance.
So they're not saying no more shooting star presses.
They just need to go through a process to be okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
Intentional intentional bleeding of any sort, and that's not just blading either. Throwing people into /through /over ring steps, commentary tables, bell tables, or guardrails /barricades. Weapon usage, so chairs, pipes, kendo sticks, hammers, ring bells, bats, chains, etc. Title belts. We've got thumbtacks, skewers, barbed wire, and other sharp puncturing objects. And powders as well, aerosol sprays or liquids.
It sounds like it could also be a list of the weapons available in AEW Fight Forever.
Yeah, it's just B&Q. It's just a shopping list. So you're throwing weapons or objects as well. So people just throwing chairs and stuff at others as well. Choking and strangling with hands or a weapon or hanging spots. Injury spots or angles, whether or not medical is involved / called to the ring. Any physicality in the crowd or crowd brawling. So, that's like a big deal with some matches as well, isn't it? Like lights out matches and stuff like that, where there's a lot of sort of those kinds of spots. And any physicality involving referees, managers, extras, celebrities, or special guests.
So those are things, they're not banned, but they need to be cleared by AEW before they're done. The document says, according to Fightful Select, providing the necessary parties with notice to plan creative stunts and spots, it's helpful. That way they can plan for them to be done as safely as possible. Talent were encouraged to speak to coaches, talent relations, medical team, or legal as early as possible. So things that would require such planning. This makes loads of sense.
Yeah, of course.
There has been a certain energy when it comes to AEW of the rest of the word freedom gets thrown around a lot in terms of creative and how wrestlers kind of put their own matches together, and you get the vibe that a lot of the more wild things that we've seen are wrestlers sort of making that decision to do it and trusting each other and going with it. Putting a process in to make sure these things go through the right channels and happen the right way isn't a bad thing at all. This is probably something that I would imagine that WWE does.
Yeah.
Part of their process.
Of course, it seems very, obviously, sort of when you look at it and you read it out and everything, it feels quite drastic, but I feel like at the same time, it's imperative to make sure everybody is safe in a process like this. And in a wrestling environment too, when these guys and ladies are just out on the road, like, continuously throughout the year to ensure their safety and make sure they are all okay throughout the year so that they can keep doing what they really enjoy doing.
And as Tony Khan has said, it is absolutely the best thing to do. And Tony Khan even said at the media call for Forbidden Door, saying that last year was his most trying year, most challenging run of injuries he's ever had in any sports company he's ever worked for.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is down to a lack of true guidance and legislation in place here. Also, away from the safety aspect, which is paramount, it's the idea that you communicate when you're doing these big spots to stop them being repeated or overlap with other ones. So from an entertainment perspective, it's not a terrible idea. I've been backstage at wrestling shows where you've had where the promoter's gone through the car for that with everybody there, and they've gone, right, is anybody doing this kind of bit? Is anybody doing a ref bump? Is anybody doing this? Just so that way you don't get the same things being repeated over and over.
Yeah, that's a good shout, that actually.
So even from an entertainment aspect, it makes quite a lot of sense to do it this way as well. I'm surprised something like this wasn't in place beforehand. I think it's worrying that it wasn't.
I imagine it must take quite a while probably to get something like this sort of planned out, because it like I said, it does feel quite a lot of information and quite a lot. It's quite drastic almost as well with all this stuff. But maybe it takes a little while. Obviously, Tony talks about last year and how it was trying for AEW with multiple of their big stars being injured, and one would think like it wouldn't be long after something like that sort of period that they had that this would be in place. But again, things take a while to plan, don't they? And they've had a lot on the plate recently.
They've had a lot on their plate.
They have.
Regardless, this is a very good thing for AEW. I personally believe, and Andrew believes as well. I believe he believes.
I believe.
You believe.
I believe in a thing called safety.
That's a great song. Your thoughts on it, of course, always welcome comments down below. And we'll have more wrestling news throughout the day at cultaholic.com. Keys.
I love you, bye.
Safely.